Hey everyone, welcome to JUENFO Kitchen where we just enjoy food. So let's enjoy this delicious chicken foot soup. Alright, so first things first, we're going to clean up our chicken foot. So I have 2 dozen chicken foot here, or feet if you want to be grammatically correct. We Jamaicans just call it chicken foot. So you want to thoroughly inspect each of your chicken foot, right? Check in between the toes and this part here to see if anything is left, and you cut that off, as well as we cut off the nails here. Now depending on where you buy it, this might be done for you already, but we're gonna have to do this for ourselves today. And this is a relatively easy process, so all we have to do is to just lay our chicken foot down like so and just cut off the toes or the nails. And then we take our knife and break the foot in half. You can either cut it in two completely, like this, or you can leave it like this. So to be a little bit more detailed, when you're breaking it, you can snap from anywhere between here to here. I usually go for the instep part here. And what this does is, one, it helps the chicken foot to cook way faster, and two, it prevents that awkward stiff look that you get when it's finished cooking. Chicken foot might be a bit awkward for certain cultures, so we don't want it to be any more awkward than it needs to be, alright? But if you're one of those people, I say to you, don't knock it until you've tried it, especially this recipe that I'll be doing for you today. So now that that is done, I'm going to give my chicken foot a good wash. Now chicken foot tends to be a little bit more raw than the actual chicken itself, so you want to make sure that you wash it properly in order to cut down on the rawness. So I'm going to use some lime juice, as well as some vinegar. And I'm going to wash this about 2 times before I add it to my pot. So similarly to our beef soup recipe, we'll be using the same ingredients for our chicken foot soup. I'll link that video above as well as in the description box below. So here we have our Irish potatoes. I'm using 2 small Irish potatoes today. Some sweet potato, these are quite small and I don't have any other purpose of these, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw them in my soup. So I'm using 4 of them. This is Dasheen and some yellow yam. So these here are known as our ground provisions, or as we call it here in Jamaica, food. So this here is for our dumplings, and I do go in detail in our beef soup video on how to knead your dumplings, so you can check that out. But today I've decided to switch it up and do some cornmeal dumplings. And remember, details will be listed in the description box below as it relates to the ingredients as well as the measurements. So for our vegetables, we have pumpkin, Cho-cho, carrots, and our soup mix. I'm using the chicken noodle soup mix today. You can also use this one, which is the cock soup mix. Either one will do. And you can also use a different brand. And if you live outside the Caribbean, you can check your local Caribbean grocery store or any store that carries an international food aisle. You should be able to find all these ingredients. For my spices and herbs, I'm using some fresh garlic, onion, scallion, thyme, of course our Scotch bonnet pepper. And we have some water here as well. Now a good practice when you're making soup is to always have some hot water nearby, just in case you need to add some to your pot. So I have my stove on medium high, and to my pot I'm going to add 2 liters of water. And to this I'm going to add my chicken foot, as well as 4 cloves of garlic. And these garlic cloves are pretty small, so I'm using 4 of them today. So if you have watched my beef soup video, as you can see, contrary to that, I'm not going to season my chicken foot before. So chicken foot is basically skin and bones, so it's going to absorb the flavor quite easily. I'm going to cover my pot and allow that to cook a bit before I add the rest of my ingredients. So while that's on my stove, I'm going to start making my dumplings. Now, as stated before in my previous soup videos, if you're a beginner in the kitchen or if you're not that experienced, it's best to use your hands to bring the dough together. You'll get a better feel. However, for the sake of these nails today, I'm going to be using a spoon to work my dough before I start kneading it. And remember, if you add too much water to your dough and it becomes too soft, that's fine. You can just always add some more flour to balance that out. And we set this aside until we're ready to use. And I'm also going to start peeling my ground provisions. So sometimes when you peel your ground provisions, they tend to oxidize, which means that they turn black or brown. So what you can do to mitigate this is to just peel them and drop them in some water. And you can add about a tablespoon of vinegar or lime or lemon juice to your water as well. Alright, so I'm done cutting up all my ingredients, and I have my ground provisions in one bowl and my vegetables in one. Now I prefer my ground provisions to be cut into bite-sized pieces, but if you prefer yours a bit bigger, you can cut them according to your preference, okay? Now you want to allow your chicken foot to boil for a good 10 minutes while you work on the rest of your ingredients. So what I'm going to do next is to just skim off all the impurities that float to the top. Alright, so once I've removed that, I'm going to go in with about another liter of hot water. My onion, which I've chopped. I'm going to add my ground provisions, which I've drained the water from. And half of my pumpkin. So by the time I'm done cooking, it can completely dissolve and give the soup that rich color that we like to see. And I'm going to cover this and let it boil for a few minutes before I add my dumplings, because I want them to hold their structure once I add them to my pot. Alright, so it's been about 15 minutes. And as you can see, guys, the soup has this beautiful color from the pumpkin that has been dissolved. So I'm going to add the rest of my vegetables. And also do a taste test. So I'm going to add some all-purpose seasoning. You can also add some chicken seasoning to this or any one of your favorite seasonings. And lastly, I'm going to add my salt. Now you always want to add your salt last because the soup mix as well as the all-purpose seasoning already has salt and you don't want your soup to be too salty. And you add your salt according to your taste. So I'm going to allow this to boil for another 10 minutes or so, and then our soup should be ready. Alright guys, our soup is now done. So the total cook time was about 45 minutes. So between 45 minutes to an hour should give you this delicious, rich, flavorful soup. And there you have it guys, chicken foot soup. Hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It helps out the channel a lot. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so as yet, and turn on your notifications so you will know when I upload every Wednesday. The goal is to reach our first 1,000 subscribers, so I'll be happy if you join the family. I love to see you guys trying out my recipes, so tag me on Instagram at JUENFO_ if you give this or any of my other recipes a try, and follow me as well if you haven't done so as yet. Check out my other soup recipes on my soups playlist, links at the top right corner of the screen and down in the description. All my other socials are also linked in the description below as well. Thanks for watching, and until next time, live life to the fullest and just enjoy food.